Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Living Astrology with Janet. It's time to grab your cup of coffee or your tea, sit back and relax while we chat about what is happening in the sky above us. Monday, the last Monday in the month of August. If you can believe that, we are on the downslide of the month and heading into September, which also means that we are headed into a new month's worth of energies. And Tam and I will be sharing that on Wednesday morning at 8 a.m., talking about the upcoming eclipses and the energies that September has to bring. So don't forget to tune in. I'll remind you again before the show is over this morning. This week, it's all about Venus, right? Venus, she's making aspects every day and every day through Wednesday. And of course, those kind of bleed over into the rest of the week as well. And Venus is the planet of love and values and relationships and money, harmony, creativity. So, what we find beautiful and meaningful is all wrapped up into Venus. So, it makes for a week that feels really yummy, even though there are some challenges about, right? There always is something good with the not so good. But as she moves through Leo, she enters into Leo today. And in fact, at 8:27 this morning, I believe it is, she and my time, so 11 something your time, she enters into the sign of Leo, a sign that she's comfortable in, right? This is a sign of self-expression. She becomes kind of flirtatious in this sign. It's about love and romance, and that's her gig, right? So she is looking at being in a sign that she's very comfortable in. And as she moves through Leo, this week especially, she starts to connect with those planets that are in early degrees of their respective signs. So that'll be Saturn, who is at right now a little over 0 degrees of Aries, a fire sign. So in a trine to Saturn, and then she'll hook up with Uranus, also in an early degree of the sign of Gemini, and as well Neptune, who is around 1-ish degrees of Aries, a fellow fire sign, so another trine. So she's making these connections with the outer planets, all of the outer planets, actually, Neptune, Uranus, Pluto. I forgot to mention that one on Wednesday. She's in an opposition to Pluto in early degrees of Aquarius. So she's making the rounds of the outer planets. And really, it's kind of fascinating to watch this happen because she's the only inner planet that's making those connections this week, right? Mercury is not. Neither is Mars. The moon, of course, moves through very quickly, and the sun is not making these connections. So it is the Venus show to be sure. Now, on Thursday, Uranus and Neptune also perfect their sextile, and that activates the minor trine, the minor grand trine that we've been talking about. And as well, Venus involved with all of this, she gets involved with activating that grand trine. And I will show you a picture of that on the chart as we get in a little further this morning. And this signature, this minor grand trine, is the signature of our times. And it's a flowing signature that is around awakening, innovation, and the movement that society makes going forward, right? It's this forward push, if you will, to move. And in human design, as we look at the week ahead, we have the sun in the gate 59, which we spoke about on Friday, the gate of sustainability and intimacy. And Earth is in the gate 55, which we didn't get to. And in the gate 55, we have the energy of faith, of abundance, of spirit. And in the gene keys, this is where I got my dragonfly. In the gene keys, it becomes the move from victimization or victim energy through the gift of freedom and into the freedom of spirit, right? Those words just make me all excited. So we're going to be talking about that. And then Venus herself in human design, moving from gate 56, expansion, but also storytelling, right? We've had the sun, we had Mercury, we had Mars move through these gates. activating the idea within us around what is the story that we're telling ourselves, and can we change it, right? Does it need changing? Does it need updating? But also as updating, not just for no good reason, but as a path to expanding ourselves, right? Expansion, growth, etc. And then later in the week, Venus will move out of the gate 56 and into the 31, a gate of leadership. And I'm really kind of anxious in a good way, like excited to see how Venus's move into that gate will impact our leaders, right? Not just in the US, but around the world. So we have freedom this week, we have intimacy, we have storytelling, and we have leadership all woven into the energies of this week. So let me say a quick good morning to everyone before I dive back into Venus in Leo. So good morning, Debbie Tibbetts-Tumiel. I saw you out there first this morning. Julie, good morning to you. Happy Monday. J-Lo, happy Monday to you. And Debbie reminding us all to please hit the like button or the thumbs up button, depending on whether you're watching this on Facebook or on YouTube. Make a comment. Share with your friends. I would so appreciate that. Tom, what's up? Kamal, good morning. Joan Durchie, good morning. Happy to see you. I bet you're having a nice, beautiful summer there at the beach, because I can tell you inland, it has been extraordinarily hot for us, right? 89 yesterday, 87 or 89 today, right? Yeah, that's hot. And it's not what I'm used to, because on the coast where I lived, it's about 10 to 15 degrees cooler. So I bet you're just having a great time there. Amy D, good morning to you as well. All right, so let's dive into, before I forget, I'm going to not rush, but I want to hurry through a little bit this morning, because on Friday I received 3 new decks of oracle cards, and I want to play with those. And it's best for me to play with them on the show, because I get to pull all kinds of different cards. So if you're someone that needs a reading, do not do it now, because it'll get lost in the roll. But when I ask again, let me know if you would like a card, okay? But not yet, because I'll miss it, okay? And unless Asa comes in to keep me straightened out, I won't be able to, but she has no power, so I doubt that she'll be on with us this morning. Oh God, Joan, don't make me sick. High 60s, that's perfect. All right, Venus enters Leo, and now she brings a bit of boldness and a bit of creativity and authentic self-expression in love and in all of the things that we value, or she helps us align with those things in the way that we speak to others and the way that we show up in our lives. And today, as she moves into Leo, when I checked this morning, the chart showed me that she was at 2951, which means she's like she was an hour away from making the change. Let me put the thing up on the screen here so you guys can see it. So up at the top left corner here is Venus. And you see I drew in the different connections she is making. The first connection that I want to talk about is the one she makes today, just as she moves in to Leo with Saturn. And you can see Saturn on the right side. He is sitting at, looks like at 0 degrees, 27 minutes. So he is retrograding backward. He is almost into Pisces. September 3rd, he moves backward into the sign that he just recently vacated. So we have a little coming up, right, where we get to, look at and reevaluate and finish up the Saturn and Pisces transit. But today, he's striking the trine with Venus. And, Saturn is grounding in our passion, our commitment to living out the highest in our values, and the structure and integrity it takes to live in that alignment. So today is really going to be a day to really, commit to what it is that lights you up, right? We're still in the shadow of the new moon. And those first 48 hours or so of the new moon are the most powerful. If you haven't yet set intentions around commitment or around getting to what it is that really lights you up and that you can sustain, right? Because the gate of sustainability is highlighted. Not just superficial attraction, right? But what you really are interested in. It's time to do that, to commit to that, to commit to what lights you up, not the untruths, right? But the very truth of who it is that you want to be, what it is that you really love. Now, with Venus in the gate 56, the gate of expansion, are we telling stories? Because it's also a storytelling gate, a teaching gate as well. Are we telling stories that expand love or keep us distracted, right? Are we distracted in the old stories of what, our relationships have been, about how what our value is or not what our value is? Are we, um, are we aligned with our self-worth? Do we feel worthy for love? To receive love, to give love, to have what we desire in our lives. And then the sun at the gate 59 brings up sustainability, intimacy, dissolving barriers. Earth in gate 55, we're going to go into a lot more here shortly, but that's grounding intimacy in faith and trust and in spirit, right? Together, Venus in these particular gates and also in the sign of Leo, expand the story of love by grounding it in faith and trust and in value and self-worth. So now that's the trine version of Venus to Saturn. Um, Tomorrow, she is in a sextile. That's the shorter green line toward the top with the planet Uranus in the sign of Gemini. So Venus and Uranus mean surprise breakthroughs, fresh perspectives, especially in love and relationships, maybe even money and creativity, because those are the things that they rule. But Uranus and Gemini is all about the technology, the way that we are moving forward, the way that we're awakening. And Venus with Uranus might bring those surprise breakthroughs, right? Those things that we didn't know, right? Or that we didn't expect to have happen. And remember that Uranus is in the gate 20 in your human design. It sits on the throat center, and it is the gate called patience. It lives in the now moment. So Venus moving in this relationship with Uranus reminds us to stay in this now moment and wait for those things to break through, to have the patience, right? Have the patience for the breakthrough to happen. And then the next day, Venus is in the trine to Neptune. So the same green line that connected her to Saturn also connects her to Neptune. But because the listing of the transits goes by the day that they become exact, this becomes exact on a different day because Saturn's at 0, Neptune's at 1 degree of Aries. So Venus and Neptune are inspiration and imagination and sort of a divine uplift, right? It's like the air beneath your wings. It lifts you up. And this combo really feels like a day when the muse is speaking to you, right? Where creativity is heightened, where spirit is being channeled in, giving you access to sparks of genius, maybe divine downloads, right? Direct from spirit right into you, where then you are able to become inspired to do something more or to be something more or to share something more. It's a really kind of great combo. In fact, none of these are negative, really, right? So far, all of these are pretty positive, even the one with Saturn. Because the idea of Venus is to bring us into that alignment with our hearts. So if you're out of alignment, then it might be a little more difficult as you realize, gosh, I've just spent so much time doing this over here and not loving it, not wanting it. And now I have to course correct and bring myself back over here where things can be more smooth and where I can be in alignment with what I love, right? Now, in the gene keys, there's this layer here of energies. With the gate 56, we have stories, right? The stories of freedom or lack of it, the stories of our lives and what that's brought to us or what it has caused, we think, in our lives. There's also some surprising inspiration in the gate 56 where Venus is, as she can suddenly, with especially Uranus in the picture, where we can suddenly break through and see where the old story has not been serving us. We get to break through, We get to break in. We get to become inspired all this week with these different aspects that Venus is making. And then with the Earth in the gate 55, we're also choosing, hopefully, to trust the unknown. We don't know exactly, right? We're being kicked out of our comfort zone, right? Uranus has left Taurus. So we're out of the comfort zone. We're in kind of uncharted waters, right? There's not that many people on the planet right now that last experienced Uranus in Gemini. And so it's new territory. And for all of us, that are, in the world, maybe, under age 80 or 84, this is new territory. So what is it that's being brought to your attention? What is it that you need to do to bring yourself back into alignment? So that layer of the gene keys here that the earth is providing for us this week is really this connection, the breakthrough and the inspiration perhaps that come when we let go of the victim stories and we live from faith, right? So before I go to the human design chart and show you where all that is, let's talk about the other Venus transit this week, which is Venus's opposition to Pluto. So you see the longer green line that leads down to the bottom right part of the chart. That is where Pluto is located in the sign of Aquarius. And this is probably the most intense aspect of the week. Venus, of course, equaling our values and our relationships, our money, our worth, and love. Pluto equaling transformation, power, truth, the excavation of the deep, right? The dark, the underneath, the underside, the underbelly, the shadow. So oppositions, where one planet is 180 degrees from the other, which is seemingly two things pulling in different directions, right? Opposing signs, Leo and Aquarius. They show us what is out of balance because likely we've weighted something at one end or the other, right? So in order to really utilize the opposition, we have to bring order and balance. Now, that means we might expect some revelations about power and its impact in our lives, power dynamics between different people in your life, between you and different aspects of yourself, right? Your health, your wealth, your relationships, and, even your own foundations, right? Being sort of looked at depending on the houses where this is happening. And, those old love relationship stories could also be coming up to the surface because they're demanding release, right? Pluto excavating, digging deep, right? Bringing it up so that once the exposed to the light, then those things can be released. Or at the very least, we can incorporate the experience that we've had and make it the backbone of the next choices that we want to make, so that a tragedy or a story of failure in a relationship can turn into this is what I used to be like in relationships, and now I see that I can be more empowered in a relationship, and this is how this has happened, so the story can move and evolve, right? That's the whole purpose. Now, as Venus shifts later in the week into the gate 31, the gate of leadership, she's moving then from the story, the gate 56, to how we influence and lead with our values. And again, I'm going to show you that chart in just a minute. And the gene key 31, in its lowest expression, is arrogance, right? The arrogant leader, the leader who grabs power, that makes things happen by sheer will, not the will of the people, but just sheer will of being the leader. And that leads us to this journey going from arrogance to leadership and then ultimately to humility, right? The humble leader, right? The one that is leading by consensus, if you will. So the Venus Pluto opposition says that true power in our relationships comes not from control, but from being humble and heart-centered and being a calm leader influence in your own life, but also with your friends and your colleagues or your community or your tribe, right? So we're really, being asked to step up a bit in how it is that, we show up in the world. And then the expectation that we have on those people that we've chosen as leaders to also step up and to be the leader and not be authoritarian or dictator like. So it's a big energy. It's happening all around the world. We see it. And that movement right now that has been happening toward more authoritarianship in the leadership of countries around the world will soon give way to this more heart-centered leadership, because we can see just out in the world how wrong it is and how corrupt it is and how corrupt it becomes. So the whole idea is to set ourselves up for a new kind of leadership, right? A new way of being in relationship with one another on the collective level. But this is also personal because it's Venus that's involved and she's a personal planet. So it's also the part that you play as a leader and how you show up in your world. Now, the other aspect, which is in blue here, is our Minor Grand Trine. And on Thursday, I believe it is, Uranus and Neptune perfect, meaning they come into exact sextile with one another. That is the right arm or wing of the Minor Grand Trine. And this is innovation, this is vision, working together, innovation and vision, being able to see the bigger picture, being able to move your heart into how it is that we could be, right? This configuration, this Minor Grand Trine is activated for a while, right through 2028. And off and on, it'll wane a little, but then come back as these planets keep doing this dance with one another over these next few years. And the sextile activates Pluto in Aquarius as well. That is the left arm of the sextile, right? Going down from Neptune and Saturn to Pluto. And then the trine between Pluto and Uranus, right? So this whole configuration is activated as these planets come into this conjunction or this exact relationship with one another. Now, this is long range architecture, if you will, guiding our awakening, guiding the societal transformation that we're undergoing, and the collective creativity to build a world that is completely different, right? That is based on energies that are far more positive, far more equal, far more tolerant, far more accepting than the one that we currently see. We're kind of looking at the shadows, the part that's still holding us back from being all of that in the world. So Venus has primed the pump all week for this kind of energy to really take shape for us. Personal love, personal values, leading into this collective awakening, right? It's bringing it to us personally. So that sextile between Uranus and Neptune is really bringing much more to us than meets the eye, right? It's hard to see how those outer planets, except to look out at the collective and go, wow, a lot is changing out there, right? This is going on, this is going on, that's going on. But when it brings a personal planet in and the personal planet begins to trigger it, then it becomes something far more in our awareness for us personally. Now, as we look at the gene keys layer, I'm going to switch my screen now. So that way I can also see if anybody has any questions. Go back to StreamYard here. Okay. Jacqueline, good morning. She says, hello, Janet, and everyone. Happy Monday. Jacqueline Tyler, I'm glad to see you back with us today. TD Hawk, good morning. J-Lo says, yes, I love it. So you Taurians and you Librans ought to be pretty happy about Venus being in Leo, because she really does kind of send little ripples of excitement or love or romance through the charts to you, right? Even though Taurus and Leo are kind of squaring one another. It can be challenging, but if you really rise to the occasion, what you come to is that I can be myself. I get to be me. I get to do me. I get to be all that I can be. So there's this kind of awakening for you guys that might be, wow, I can let that go because that's so not me, right? Interesting, right? All right, so now let's go into human design. Let me share my screen here with the body graph chart. Nope, I want this one. There we go. And I've already pre-filled this out, but I think here I can actually share and point to where you need to go to look at. So I wanted to do this deep dive this morning into the gate 55 because the gate 55 is on the solar plexus and it is vitally involved with the 2027 human design evolutionary leap that we take, where this gate becomes one of the gates in the cross of the sleeping phoenix, and that is taking us out of this old world incarnation cross that we've been in, where it was about building institutions and bureaucracies and how did we organize ourselves into societies and cultures, because between 400 years ago and now the population has exploded, right? So how did we organize our societies? How did we bring administration energies into play? And what we've discovered here at the end, toward the end, we're in the last couple of years of this 400-year cycle, it has become a behemoth, right? It has become uncaring. It has become unsustainable. It has become untenable. And the 59, the gate of sustainability, and the 55, the gate of freedom, are both involved in the new incarnation cross that becomes the guiding energy behind civilization for the next 400 years from the point of 2027 on, right? So we're going to be able to witness this change. So these two gates become so important, really understanding what these two gates mean and how it is that they play out. Now, in your own chart, in your own human design chart, take a look and see how these gates are defined, because the gate 59 could be like this, where it's hanging, right? It's only part way across. The gate 59 could be all the way across to the 6. So you already have this channel of sustainability and productivity that is meeting up with emotional alignment. You might not have anything there, right? And if you have nothing there, then suddenly this week you've got this sustainability on your mind because it's now defined by the sun. It is the sun that is sitting at the gate 59. And if you already had it defined, let's say it was hanging like this, then you're adding the sun to whatever planet that you have there. And if your birthday is in this next day or so, then it's your own natal sun that sits at the 59, and you're going through a solar return that includes the concept of sustainability as you move forward into this year ahead for you. And if you have that entire channel defined in your chart, then what you're looking at now is the addition of the sun at one end of the spectrum of what that gate or what that channel has been bringing to you all your life. And now you have some maybe bright light, a revelation energy that is also a part of your natal experience. So it plays out a little differently for each person, but no matter what, we all have a spotlight on gate 59, which is all about sustainability. And if you want to go back to Friday's broadcast, I talked more about the gate 59 during that time. Now let's go into the gate 55, because this was a gate that was called abundance in spirit, or abundance through spirit, or sometimes it was just called the gate of abundance. And it really showed us that the true nature of abundance was emotional. not about what we do or how hard we work or how much work we do or how many jobs we have. It wasn't anything about that because truly abundance is an emotional alignment. And then as we moved into quantum human design, actually, I should go with the gene keys first because it came before quantum human design did. When we moved into the gene keys, we saw that in the shadow, this was victimization, right? This was this energy of life is happening to me. I'm a victim. I'm a victim of circumstance. I'm a victim of love. I'm a victim of my relationships. I'm a victim of not having enough. I'm a victim of not being enough, right? On and on and on with this victim energy, feeling powerless and stuck in emotional storms, right? Almost like the 2-year-old who's having a tantrum because they can't get what they want. This is in the shadow energy, I can't get what I want. And I'm getting mad. I'm getting frustrated. I'm angry. I'm upset. And of course, then that becomes more of a story, right? The story of a lack of abundance, a story of being a victim. So that is an energy to leave behind because in the gene keys, we see that's the shadow. That's what's holding us back. What we need to do is move to at least the gift level here, which is freedom, recognizing that emotions are waves. They're not prisons, right? You're not doomed to always be in that emotional state. You can choose trust. You can choose to have faith. You can choose openness to possibility as a way to remove yourself from that victimization and elevate to freedom, because your freedom, your true freedom, people, comes from what you choose, how you choose to look at yourself, how you choose to act, how you choose to feel. Right now, feelings, sometimes feelings are beyond our control. Sometimes they are waves of this powerful emotion that overtakes you. But remember that they are just that. They're waves of energy and they move through. And your job isn't to hold on to that emotion. Your job is to let that emotion just flow, right? To have faith that this too shall pass and that there's always possibility. Now, when we get to the city, the highest expression of the gate 55 or the gene key 55, we go to freedom in spirit, where it's full surrender to divine flow, right? Emotional liberation, essentially, and the mystical state of grace, right? This is that highest expression. We've given up reactivity, right? We're not reacting to the emotions that we're feeling. We're allowing them to flow through us, knowing that emotions do that. They flow. They have their highs, they have their lows. Even joy flows that same way, right? So the connection then to the gate 59 with the gene key 55, so the gene key gate 59, the gene key gate 55, is that intimacy requires vulnerability. Vulnerability requires trust, and trust without faith, like intimacy collapses, right? Without trust, relationships collapse. With faith and intimacy, it deepens and sustains us in our relationships. So the question then for the earth, it is the earth, by the way, that is sitting at the gate 55. So the whole reason we're having this conversation is because the earth is here. And the earth reminds us that we have to ground in something before we can reach to the highest of the sun. So we have to ground in faith, not faith in a power outside of ourselves, faith in our higher divine self, right? Faith that you are connected to source or God, whatever you want to call it. You're not looking for God outside, right? You're not like religions teach you to look for something outside of yourself. But in reality, it's all inside. It's an inside job. So asking yourself, where am I telling a victim story? And, in love, in money, in creativity, again, depending on, your own human design, where are you telling that victim story? And what do you need to do to change it? And then what would it look like to shift from the fear into trust? What would that look like? What would that feel like, right? To shift to know that you have the power to shift out of any of those feelings. And then how can you ground your relationships in faith, trusting both yourself and others? And what might greater intimacy open up in your life if you allowed emotional freedom? Emotional freedom means I'm not a victim to my emotions. I am not reacting to my emotions. I am using my emotions as a way to inform me about where I've gone astray, about where I need to course correct, whether that's in my thinking, in my mind, or is it in my life? What do I need to course correct? All right. Now, I also showed up here the gates 56 and 31. This is the Venus in Leo gate. It's activating love and creativity and value. And that's being activated through Saturn's commitment, Uranus's surprises and awakening, and Neptune's inspiration, and Plutoan transformation, right? Moving through the shadow. And then Venus moving from the story, from becoming more expansive, she moves into the leadership gate. And this is shifting us from storytelling to embodying leadership in love, in values, in relationships, in our money, or even in other places, depending on where all this is happening in your own charts. The sun and the earth. um, the sun in the gate of sustainability and intimacy, plus the earth at the gate 55, which is the gate of faith and freedom, reminds us that, society and intimacy in our relationships and community and tribe is only sustainable when it's grounded in common values, right? When we live according to those values and not against those values, right? So it's an important thing that we're learning. And the Uranus Neptune sextile kind of plugging into Pluto and then plugging into Neptune as well, grounding everything in this minor grand trine, where we can envision a future that's built on freedom, built on awakening, built on trust, right? So, lots to think about this week as these, planetary shifts are, kind of taking us into a more loving space, a more loving, territory, and allowing for us to see ourselves more in our value and, you know, becoming the humble leader, right? In your own world. Doesn't have to mean out on the world stage, but I would love to see humble leaders on the world stage, wouldn't you? I would like to see leaders that say, hey, let's see how we can all work together to create prosperity, to create freedom, to create acceptance and tolerance, to create a better equal world, not debasing it and taking it away as we see happening here in the US, but how do we bring it together? How do we bring that all together? So this week, Venus reminds us that love is not just about relationships. It's about the values we live by. And do we live by our values? Do we value feeding the children? Do we value health care for all? Do we value peace? Do we value prosperity? Right? It becomes about the trust we hold in ourselves to align ourselves with what's correct for us, what is right for us. And then it's also about the freedom that we allow ourselves to embody when we choose faith over fear, freedom over victimization. And then we step into the highest expression of love. I know this sounds kind of Pollyanna, but I see a world where all of that is possible, even though outside in the outer world right now, it doesn't look that way. But the shadow of everything has to show up first, right? Because we need to look at it and go, ooh, that isn't in alignment with my values. That isn't aligned with our stated values as a nation. That isn't aligned with our stated values as a planet, right? We might need to go out that far, right? And it is a time then, an energy of shaping not just our own lives, but the future we're co creating together. right? It's bigger than just us, right? But the more we tap into our value, our self-worth, our freedom, the more we tap into living from our values and insisting that if we have a stated value of XYZ in a group or in a community, in a planet, in a country, that we live by those stated values, that we align and that those values are there for all, no one excluded, right? That is where we're moving, right? That is the utopian vision that is promised us, and it will take time to create it, right? Because we got out of line with it, out of alignment with it, right? And it's all as a part of evolution. It's all right and perfect, even if it looks terrible, even if it feels like we're going in the wrong direction. It's all right and perfect as we are moving in an evolutionary path. All right. That is it for me, right? So now, good morning, Patty. Good morning, Christine. It's good to have you with us. Tom, Freedom, George Michael. Exactly. If only they would allow us to just play songs without having to worry about copyrights and getting everybody their money. Simple song of freedom, Bobby Darin. I don't know what that one is. J-Lo, yes, make sure our grandchildren have a better, safer world. Right. And is that happening now? I don't know, right? It looks pretty dim, it looks pretty dark, but I always know that there's light at the end of that tunnel. And one of the biggest things about it is that we know, or at least I know as an astrologer, that with Pluto now in that lower declination, the declination of reform, that everything is working toward reforming what is and making it more in alignment with our values, right? With the stated values, right? That's happening. It's just right now we're seeing the not self of that, if you will, and eventually, we'll move over toward what the dream is, right? What the stated values are. Uh, oh, Christine, that's a good one too. The Redemption Song by Bob Marley. Despite the use of the term to mean excessively cheerful, it really means to always see the good side of the situation. Thank you, Tom, for reframing Pollyanna for me. And Tom also says, as Pollyanna and her father played the glad game as a method of coping with the real difficulties and sorrows that, along with luck and joy, shape everyday life. TD Hawk says, Richie Havens is freedom. Freedom. That's our buzzword for the week. Freedom, love, relationships, intimacy, sustainability. This is the week. This is what we end August with. And that's an important thing to remember as well, because ending August means we're leading into September, and we're only 7 days into September when we hit the lunar eclipse, right? And we're already feeling the impacts, the impending impacts of that lunar eclipse, which is in early Virgo Pisces. So we'll be talking more about that Friday, tomorrow on the 27th. Tam and I will be talking about that and giving you more information. All right, now I want to play with my new card decks. And I'll show them to you. They're actually, this is, Hay House has a subscription that I think it's every 3 months I get 3 new card decks. Well, this month they were extraordinary. I thought, like last quarter, I didn't think they were all that great. I don't even think I brought them out much, but these I definitely want to play with. So now's the time. I have about 20 minutes, so I can probably do 3 to 5 people's card readings. Let me show you the cards first. I'm keeping them all under my desk here, Amy, in a basket. And yet it's hard for me here because at my home that I lived in, I had them right next to me so I could visually see them. Maybe I just need to pull them out in the mornings I'm doing broadcasts so I can see them, because now it's like a crapshoot. I reach down and go, oh, what deck is that? Pull it out and go, oh, hey. So here are the new decks. Trust Your Vibes, Oracle cards by Sonia Choquette. So we've got that one. And then another one by Rebecca Campbell. She's done the star cards. And this is the Inner Temple Oracle. And I find this deck really intriguing. And then a deck that is kind of, I thought I was going to really like this deck. And it's not that I don't like it, it's just a little odd, but it's called the Fairy Tale Heroine Oracle by Sharon Blackie. So 3 new decks. Let's play. Who wants a reading? Tom says he would love a card. Okay, I got to go back. J-Lo, I would love one, your choice. I'm going to do got to get my coffee out of the way so I don't spill it. I was going to do a Trust Your Vibes, but apparently an Inner Temple card is what is being called for you today. And I want you to see, look how beautiful the box is. And then when you open up the box, you've got this beautiful inlaid thing here that you can actually slip the card in so that you can see it, right? And kind of interact with it. So an Inner Temple card. Let's see what we pull for you, J-Lo. Be thinking about your question. Or if your question is just what's up, that's fine too, because I'm reasonably sure the right card will come up, because it always seems to. And here it is. That is not a card. Nope, we don't have it yet. Now we do. And what we have is the Beauty Way. The Beauty Way. So let me show you the card. I might need to bring it back a little bit. There we go. The Beauty Way. And it's card number, these don't have numbers, but it's got a little triangle above it, if you can see that. The Beauty Way. And if you see the lotus and the light and women, let's take a look and see what that is all about. Do we use the okay, I'm gonna have to go to the hold on. Remember, these are new. They have all kinds of really cool cards in here. Wow. Why am I not seeing that card? Oh, there it is. Number 64. Okay, here's your card, J-Lo. Beauty is about much more than appearance and aesthetics. Beauty always has a deeper purpose, and it doesn't try to be anything other than what it is, which is why it takes our breath away. Life is beautiful, but it isn't pretty. Beauty is very different from pretty. Pretty is perfect, but it's static, fixed, paper thin. It holds no substance. It has no depth, and it's not really alive. Pretty never lasts, but beauty is timeless. Beauty holds the essence of life, and it contains within it the great mystery. Birth and death are beautiful. Love is beautiful. Friendship is beautiful. Growth is beautiful. All things that are beautiful have a tension within them. Perhaps it's this tension that makes them beautiful, for we appreciate how much of a blessing and a miracle they are when we witness them in their fleeting state, in that never to be seen again moment. Babies are beautiful. Flowers are beautiful. The ocean is beautiful. Life is beautiful. You are beautiful. Beauty transforms the beholder through its brutal honesty. It activates the breath of life as we exhale in awe. And this brings us into the present moment. If you open your eyes, you'll see that this world is made up of such beauty. And if you do your best to acknowledge it when you can, you'll be brought instantly into this present moment. You'll be inspired to embrace your true nature and sacred purpose, for it's a fact that all things change, and that makes them all the more beautiful in each moment. This card is a reminder to seek the beauty of this world and your life, and in turn, to create beauty wherever you go. Your inner temple activation is I open my heart to see the beauty that's all around me. All right. I open my heart to see the beauty that's all around me. The way of beauty, or the beauty way. Whew, that's a good one. All right. Who was after? Let's see who was after J-Lo. That looks like it is Debbie. Debbie says, me please. And Debbie, I'm feeling like a Trust Your Vibes oracle card. So let's open this deck. This is the one by Sonia Choquette. And it's the only deck that I did not pull myself a card from over the weekend. That's because I worked all weekend, right? I'm working on the She Rises Summit, and let's see, I put up a new webpage for that. I built a gift and a VIP gift. I built a masterclass that tomorrow I will record and share with everybody in the She Rises Summit. All right, Debbie. Oh, you're going to like this one. This is card number 50, and it says, be grateful. Be grateful. You know what, Debbie? These cards remind me of some of your paintings, right? Some of the, colors, the vibrancy and all of that. So maybe this deck could be an inspiration to you. So the Sonia Choquette, trust your vibes. Let's see what this card says. Be grateful. Such a perfect Taurian message too. All right, here's what it says. Make a list of all your blessings so you fully recognize how much abundance you genuinely enjoy. Fill your heart with gratitude for everything on the list, for it is all a gift from God who loves you unconditionally. Add to this list daily as you notice little things you appreciate in your life. Rather than fretting or worrying about what you don't have, change your perspective and begin recognizing all you do have. The more you acknowledge your blessings, the more they flow. If you are poverty conscious, now is your time to recover. There is no lack of abundance available to you. You simply must break the habit of perceiving the world as one of deprivation and struggle and accept the endless blessings waiting to come in. Enjoy the blessings you have now and ask the universe to keep them coming. Then prepare for the windfall. Ooh, I like that. This isn't being greedy. This is self-esteem and understanding that you are a beloved child of the universe, one who is unconditionally loved and will be amply provided for every step of your human existence. This has always been the case, but you may have missed your blessings before now because you didn't have the eyes to see them or the open heart to receive them. You can change this today by counting your blessings and watching them multiply 1,000-fold. I love it. Beautiful card. Be grateful. All right. So that was Debbie. Stacy Roberts. Did I miss people? Good morning, Jana. Me. I got you. I would love a card, your choice. Okay, so Jana and then Stacy. And then I saw Tom wanted one too. So I think I have time to get to those. So Stacy, who was this? Who was Jana? Jana, this is for you. I'm going to use the Fairy Tale Heroine deck by Sharon Blackie. And on the cover, you see, this depiction of Little Red Riding Hood, the wolf. That's kind of cool, right? So some of these cards are going to be about fairy tales that we love, and some of them that, we might have fear over. And the card I pulled for you, is Dragon. Jana, what in the world is going on in your life right now? Dragon. Look at that beauty. Card number 4, Dragon. And that reminds me, I have the Dragon deck we haven't played with for a while too. Okay, so Dragon is in a different place. Here we go. The dragon is a symbol of might and mystery in so many mythic and folkloric traditions around the world, but the best known heroic sagas seem to require the hero to kill one. Sometimes in European folklore, dragons have a tendency to steal away beautiful young maidens to eat them, but sometimes they're depicted as the fierce but benign guardians of treasure. Dragons don't just guard jewels and great stashes of gold, though. They're also the protectors of sacred groves and springs. Whatever it is that he's guarding, the dragon is the guardian of the threshold that the fairy tale heroine is required to cross, the fierce creature who keeps her from accessing her heart's desire. There's a danger there for sure, because waking the sleeping dragon always carries risks. But the dragon can also be an ally if instead of simply trying to eliminate him, like the archetypal hero seems to prefer, the heroine recognizes him as a source of potential strength. Can she bring the dragon into her community so that something of his power will adhere to her and make her stronger? What's the nature of the dragon who guards the threshold that you need to cross, Jana? How will you persuade him to let you pass? Dragon. Yikes. Something big going on in your life. I can't wait to hear about it. I'm sure you will let me know. All right. And after Jana, TD Hawk, if you would pull mine, whatever the deck calls for you, I am going to, I know exactly what it is that you need. It is this one. Chamber of Soul Contracts from the Inner Temple Oracle. Right there. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? Chamber of Soul Contracts. So let's see if I can find that card faster than I found the other one. And Chamber of Soul Contracts, page 52. All right, here it is. The Chamber of Soul Contracts appears as a confirmation that what you're currently experiencing or being called to experience is part of your soul's plan. What are you being called to do? And what support do you need? Call it in, call it in, call it in. It's a mistake to believe that you're here on your own, that answering the call you feel in your heart is solely up to you. Your being here matters to those who came here to walk alongside you. Your presence lights up the way for them, and their presence lights up the way for you. We each hold a thread for the healing of humanity. We didn't come here alone. We came here as weavers, each to play our part and embody our soul in our own unique way. There are helpful people who are here to support you on your journey. Maybe you already know them by name, or perhaps it's time for you to call them in more fully, to make them feel appreciated, named, and known. These are souls who are here to assist you on behalf of humanity. For the more deeply you step onto your soul's truest path, the more deeply others will be able to do the same. If there's something you're called to do, there's a team of people who are here to help you do it. Chamber of Contracts, of soul contracts, not just any old contracts. All right, cool. Okay, and then Joan and Joan. I'm going to trust your vibes, deck, but it needs to be, oh, okay. So two of them popped out, but they're neighboring cards. So I believe this is the one. And it is let your higher self lead. Let your higher self lead. It is a card 25. So it's a very spiritual card, I think, as we look at that. Let's see. 25. Okay. Joan, you are encouraged to put your ego aside and allow your higher self to take over. Stop trying to figure things out and place your confidence in your inner guidance. Your higher self will guide you forward if you allow it to. Find this connection in your heart and surrender to your greater divine spirit. Next, invite your higher self to physically move you towards your highest good. This includes moving your thoughts, words, emotions, and body in unison with your best outcome. Be flexible and spontaneous, and don't overthink. Trust your higher self to keep you safe and gracefully lead you to the best outcome for all concerned. You will soon be on your way. I think that was probably a perfect message for you at this point in time. All right. Good after Joan. There was Stacy Roberts, and then Tom, I will pull one for you. Stacy Roberts. Stacy Roberts needs this one. The Heroine Oracle. Let's see, Stacy. What is it you're dealing with? You're dealing with the mirror. Mirror, mirror on the wall. Who's the fairest of them all? Here's the card. Mirror. Look at that reflection. That looks pretty. All right. Mirror is card number 3. But in which place is it? This particular deck has different sections. The section the mirror is in is under what's called tools, right? So the mirror is a tool. Now let's see what it says. The magic mirror is a common symbol in fairy tales, and perhaps the best known of them all is the one possessed by Snow White's stepmother. This mirror doesn't just show the queen her reflection, it knows things about her that she cannot. In particular, it knows whether or not she's still the fairest in the land. When the mirror informs her one day that it is now Snow White who's the most beautiful, the queen can no longer see clearly, and her only goal is to kill Snow White and reinstate herself as the fairest. She doesn't want the truth from the mirror. What she wants is simply an image of herself that she's constructed in her own mind, but which is the true self? The woman who looks into the mirror and sees, or the woman in the mirror who's seen? A magic mirror will show you things that you can't know about yourself. It's a reflection of a world or a situation that you cannot perceive. If you're genuinely seeking the truth, it's a symbol of revelation. But if you're looking only for validation, it can instead be a symbol of illusion. Is there an illusory element to the way you perceive your place in the world right now? How might you learn to see more clearly? And I would imagine to see a situation more clearly, to see yourself more clearly, to see others more clearly. So, the mirror. Okay. And I don't have an angel deck handy, Patty. And Catherine, where did Tom go? I know you asked for a card, Tom, so I'm just giving you one. And I'm going to give you a Trust Your Vibes card. Somehow, I don't know, you skipped out of the lineup there. But I know I saw it, so I'm just going with that. Ooh. And you get this beautiful card, Pray. Isn't that beautiful? With the moon, some flowers growing, poppies it looks like maybe, and Pray. So card number 15. And here's what it says for you, Tom. The hotline to the universe is prayer, which means simply communicating heart to heart with your unconditionally loving creator. As you pray, know your creator is listening. Don't waste time trying to figure things out alone. This exhausting effort will only lead to more frustration, confusion, and no real answers. Let go of your anxieties and give your concerns to the universe. Pray for assistance and ask the universe to remove all obstacles in your path. Pray for yourself and others. Prayer raises your vibration and strengthens your power of attraction. As you pray, expect your prayers to be heard and answered. Prayers are potent exchanges with God. Let your nightly prayer before sleeping be one of gratitude for prayers answered, and they will be. Lovely. That's awesome. Okay, where are we? Time. I'm a little over time. Stacy, thank you for saying that. Tom, still there, so you got your card. And I would love to keep reading cards. I think I will do. There was someone else that asked me for a card. Catherine Worcester. I'm giving you a card. I don't know that you asked, but I think you need an inner temple. And I know the struggles, with your family and your father right now. And maybe the card can validate that all is well. All is working exactly as it is meant to. So let's see. Oh, God. The whole deck went flying. And it's because they're all slippery. New decks, when you get them, they're kind of slippery. Slickery. The holiest temple. That looks like a beautiful card, Catherine. The holiest temple. And let's see what this says. The only thing I don't like about this deck is it's hard to find where the reading is. Okay, but I did find it. All right, here you go, Catherine. The body is the destination and the pathway home to everything we seek. There's no greater power and no deeper wisdom than that which exists within. Your body has an intelligence beyond what you could possibly imagine. It's always talking to you, sometimes singing, other times screaming. It's through the body that our soul and the divine can speak. Your intuitive senses are forever delivering information to guide you every moment of every day. What your what is your body wanting you to know today? What does it have to say? How can you call your soul to you more fully? So many of us were taught to dismiss the body or to see the body as something other than sacred. This is one of the worst crimes there is, for there's no greater companion for the soul than the physical body, and no more sacred a vessel than it. This card is an invitation to move your body and to cherish it, to prioritize its needs above all else, to honor it, to shower gratitude upon it. Yes, the body is the destination, not just the vehicle. It will show you how to process and how to heal. Through the body, you'll be able to experience it all, the highs and the lows, the salty and the sweet, the ecstasy and the agony. When we're disconnected from the body, we're disconnected from the sacred and the soul. Your body knows how to move through all that life throws at you. So dance, run, walk, shake. Whatever you do, your body knows what you need, and it will show you the way through everything and anything if you let it. Here's a soul inquiry question. How are you being called to move your body today? How are you being called to move your body today? The holiest temple is the body. I love it. All right, you guys. Now, if you didn't get a reading today, no big deal. We'll do some more on Friday because I've got to play with the decks more. And listen to some of the readings that were around you, because as we're all a part of this group that is listening this morning, it's a possibility you got a message that you needed to hear as well. All right. Thank you all for listening this morning. I hope to see you all on Wednesday morning, 8 a.m., when Tam and I break down what is happening for the month of September. And then I will also see you on Friday morning, just in time for the 3-day weekend for Labor Day. All right, everybody. Take care. Much love.